That's very creepy, and all I'm thinking is like a cold hand literally going like this between two people. Okay, no thank you. What's up, Rad Fam? I'm back again with a paranormal investigation deep dive into a supposedly real haunted place. Now today I want to explore the haunted Stanley Hotel, and if that name sounds familiar to you, it is because it is said to be the inspiration for Stephen King's The Shining. So today I want to dive into the supposedly real ghost stories and sightings that inspired such an iconic novel and movie. So let's get to it. So to start off our paranormal deep dive, I think it's important to find out some basis of information about the Stanley Hotel. Here's a picture of it. As you can see, it is a very large hotel. It is certainly grand in its appearance, and it looks quite old, which lends itself to some spooky stories to be told. So let's do a quick overview of the history of the hotel. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado is not only famous for its old world charm and excellent service, it is also known for its active paranormal activity and spirit folklore. The hotel is just over 100 years old, so yeah, it's pretty old. And it's located just 5 miles from the entrance to Rocky Mountains National Park. Now, this hotel does offer not only like normal hotel amenities and a nice place supposedly to stay to enjoy nature, it is also home to some paranormal ghost tours that you can actually take, which will take you along some of the locations in the hotel that harbor some ghost stories. So that sounds fun. I wonder if more people go there just to stay at the pretty hotel, or if they go there because they know the ghost stories and the urban legends surrounding it. I'd be very interested to hear from guests why they chose the Stanley Hotel. The hotel was built in the early 1900s and was officially opened on July 4th, 1909. And this hotel had a lot of perks that were unheard of for the time, so it was a very luxurious hotel. So a lot of famous and rich, wealthy people, which is redundant, stayed at this hotel. Like it had running water and electricity and telephones and just stuff that really only the wealthy could afford this expense to stay here. And that's pretty reflective of the design of the hotel. It does look very timeless and grand. So now that we have a little basis of what this hotel has to offer and like where it's located, which I think is always nice to know before you dive into the ghost stories. But now it's time to get to the point of this video, which, come on, like we've come here for the ghost stories. So let's dive into the paranormal activity that is plaguing this hotel. And now in this hotel, it is not just one ghost story that plagues it. It is a plethora, and there are a number of rooms that are said to be haunted by like individual ghosts. So this is a place that is like said to be a hotbed for paranormal activity. And just saying those words gave me goosebumps, guys. So from my research, there seems to be like 10 different rooms or locations in the hotel that are said to have ghostly activity happening in them. That is so many. I'm used to like hearing about like maybe one room or like the ballroom of the hotel, or maybe like a couple individual room numbers, not 10. And I don't even think that's all of them. So I think we should start off with room 217, which is said to be one of the most famous haunted places in the entire Stanley Hotel. This is where Stephen King actually spent the night and got inspired to write the novel The Shining. Room 217 is thought to be haunted by Elizabeth Wilson, or Mrs. Wilson. She was the hotel's head housekeeper, and during a storm in 1911, so just a few years after the hotel actually opened, she was injured during an explosion as she was lighting the lanterns in the room. Wow, that is a crazy freak accident, right? She survived, though she broke her ankles, and her spirit seemed to be a regular in this room. Guests have reported items moved, luggage being unpacked even though they swear no one's touched it, and lights being turned on and off. Oh my god, this is literally giving me so many goosebumps. And of course, Charlie decides right now is the best time to give himself a bath. Whew. And Miss Wilson is old-fashioned. She doesn't like it when unmarried guests sleep in the same room together. So some couples have reported feeling a cold force come between them. So like between like their cuddle session under the covers, like there's like a cold spot that'll just appear. That's very creepy, and all I'm thinking is like a cold hand literally going like this between two people. Okay, no thank you. You think that sounds like a romantic time? You can actually still stay in this room. There is like an urban legend that like these haunted rooms are blocked off or inaccessible to the public and only really given out under special like circumstances for like haunted paranormal TV shows. But I guess that's not true, and you can actually stay in the room that inspired The Shining. How fun! Another famous haunted location in the hotel is the concert hall, which I think just being in a big empty room by yourself is always unsettling, especially in a hotel if it's like in the middle of the night. So I can see just like right off the bat how this could be a place where people would say ghosts would inhabit. So apparently there's a ghost that is frequently said to be seen in the concert hall. It's said that he enforces the strict 11 p.m. curfew at the hotel. So if people are in the concert hall past 11, people have reported hearing someone very gruffly saying, "Get out." Well, that's unsettling, and I would be inclined to get out. The area is also a favorite spot for hotel founder Flora Stanley's ghost, who is said to play the piano. A few of Paul's antics: a construction worker reported he felt Paul nudge him while he was sanding the floors, and tour groups on the Stanley Ghost Tour have reported he flickered a flashlight for them. Another ghost known to wander about the concert hall is Lucy, who quite possibly was a runaway who found refuge in the hall. So she stayed in the hotel unknowingly, I suppose, since she probably didn't have money to rent a room herself. She entertains the request of ghost hunters, often communicating with them with flashing lights. Stanley historians, however, aren't quite sure about her pre-death connection to the hotel. So the idea that she was a runaway that took refuge in the concert hall isn't quite agreed upon. But I mean, in ghost stories, is anything ever quite agreed upon? I feel like there's always going to be different variations. But that's interesting. So she is said to be the most talkative in this room. So I guess if you go there and you want to do some paranormal investigating of yourself, if that's allowed, if you're going to have any paranormal activity, it's most likely going to be with Lucy. Even though the whole after 11 p.m. hearing someone tell you to get out. Oh, that is spooky. Now on to another room. This is room 401, and when the hotel first opened, this was actually part of the attic, and this is where like female employees and like their children would actually stay. So while there doesn't seem to be any like reported deaths specifically in room 401 or where the attic is, oh my god, I'm getting like shivers down my spine just talking about all these ghosts. People who stay in the room have reported hearing children giggling, the footsteps of little kids running around, playing in the middle of the night when clearly there are no little kids running or laughing. And also there is a closet in the room that tends to open and shut on its own at all hours of the night. So that's spooky and fun. Oh, so maybe it's the spirit of a little kid that thinks it's funny to mess around with ghosts, or maybe they're playing hide and seek and, you know, hiding in the closet. Oh wow, no thank you. I would not want to stay in room 401. But I guess, you know, it could be worse. There's nothing harmful or dangerous that these ghosts are said to do, which sometimes like in ghost stories we hear that, where like guests will be like kicked awake or their hair will be yanked, or, you know what I mean? There's nothing like menacing about it. So I mean, just ghost children forever playing. Nope, that's so creepy. The next haunted room is room 428. Now, apparently, this is said to be one of the spookiest rooms you can possibly stay in. So that's gonna be fun to read about. Guests who have been brave enough to stay in room 428 have reported hearing footsteps above them and furniture actually moving. So people have reported seeing their like chair or like their suitcase or like the nightstand or the lamp actually moving in front of them with no rational explanation as to what they're seeing or why it's happening. No, thank you. That's some like poltergeist level-ish. No, yeah. I'd rather sleep in the room with like little ghost kids. And apparently there's also a pretty commonly seen apparition that looks like a cowboy. It doesn't seem like he is menacing or wanting ill will on any of the guests, but it is said that guests will wake up in the middle of the night and he'll be sitting at the edge of their bed staring at them. So I mean, I would kind of take that as menacing, because like, why is he looking at you while you're sleeping? That's uncomfortable, bud. I just feel like that would be like a looming presence, and how could that not be terrifying? Someone being in your room watching you sleep in the middle of the night in a hotel room, like how they get there. So like, how would you explain what you saw unless you thought you were dreaming, but then other people have seen it? It's very interesting to say the least. So now that we've gone over a handful of like the haunted locations within the hotel, like I said, there are a lot more though. Now I want to dive into like people's personal experiences. So I want to look up some like ghostly encounters with like staff or guests of these rooms. Oh, this is where the real spookiness comes in. So the first one we're going to dive into is from the concert hall. I'm pretty skeptical when it comes to supernatural paranormal happenings, but one thing in particular really messed with my head. At the beginning of the tour, you follow tour guides to the music hall, which would often be occupied by children playing during the daytime. I'm already like preparing myself for the spookiness. When you arrive in the hall, you're all seated in the observation box and given an introduction of sorts explaining that none of the spirits or activity are angry or violent, and that a lot of the activity was thought to be that of children in this hall. So our guide asked us by show of hands if any of the tour members are good with kids, to which I, along with 4 or 5 others, raised our hands. Everyone who raised their hands, she gave a dum-dum sucker to for us holding out on our palm as if we were handing it to a child. And depending on the spirit's comfortability with you, they would supposedly pull on the sucker. Some people claim to feel movement, some didn't a thing. But I personally felt and watched this sucker drag from the middle of my hand all the way to the ground. Unless that's some like crazy magic trick, I don't understand how that could possibly happen. Maybe like the person's subconscious, like they wanted something scary to happen. So like, I don't know. That's some like creepy stuff. There might be a rational explanation for it. But you know, even if I'm on the fence and I go there and that were to happen to me, that would certainly make me maybe be less on the fence in this situation. That is so freaky. Oh my god, I would hate that. Now this ghost story doesn't so much have to do with a specific room, but it has to do with the 3rd floor of the hotel. My ex-girlfriend and I went there around New Year's Eve a couple years ago. I can confirm it is very haunted. Okay, they seem very certain about that. On the 3rd floor, my ex turned white as a sheet after stopping in front of a particular door. I asked her what had happened. She said that she felt something had ran their hand from her backside up to the nape of her neck. Oh my god, I feel like I just felt that just talking about it. Oh my god, that is so scary. How would you explain that? There was no one else around but us. When they got all the tour members gathered around the door she had that experience at, she began to tell the group about an apparition that likes to grope pretty young women, and he frequently runs his hand from their backside up to their neck, completely matching what she experienced before she even knew the story. Oh gosh, that is so spooky, and I would not feel comfortable there. And perverted ghosts. That's double creepy, isn't it? This next one has to do with the ballroom. Though we really didn't talk about the ballroom because I don't think it's the same as like the concert hall, this one has to do with that. It's an absolutely beautiful and super haunted room. My sister lived in Colorado for a few years, so one winter we were visiting, we decided to make the trip to Estes Park. Well, being the rule breakers we are in the family, we ditched the official tour and took our own. That sounds like the making of a horror movie, doesn't it? Yep, it does. We came across this big room with chairs covered in white cloth. Oh god, so a ghost can be hiding underneath there. We decided to play ghosts and drape the cloths over ourselves, pretend to be ghosts, and take pictures. Why? It's a haunted hotel. Why would you want to do that? There's some freaky things that are going to be on that camera. We, of course, thought we were being hilarious. The ghost decided to delete every single picture we took in that room. All the pictures we took before and after were still in the camera. Just the ones we were playing ghosts were deleted. So almost like the ghosts were upset that they felt like they were being made fun of. I would think like if all of them got erased, like someone probably just like hit a button they didn't mean to hit, or like the memory card got corrupted, but very selective pictures were deleted. That's a freaky instance, right? Wow, okay, well I think that does it for today's paranormal investigation deep dive. I feel like we got a lot of creepy nightmare fuel about this Stanley hotel. It certainly does seem to live up to its reputation, or I should say it certainly has a reputation for being haunted outside of the movie. I'm not here to tell you if the paranormal exists or if this is actually haunted. I haven't been there, so I can't tell you, and that is of course something for you to decide yourself if you believe in that or not. Regardless, I think it is incredibly fascinating to talk about. I now want to rewatch The Shining with a new appreciation for it. But thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up so that I know you liked it and want to see more deep dives into haunted places and their ghost stories in the future. And if you haven't seen it yet, here is a video I recently posted that's on the screen right now, and I post all the time, so if you missed it or missed some others, there are plenty for you to go binge watch. Until next time, keep it the randomness, and I'll see you real soon. Bye! Y'all, I'm just so darn freaked out by all these ghost stories right now. It is past midnight. It's almost 1 in the morning. I hope you sleep well tonight and don't think about all these ghost stories.